a discussion of the payment system. And when I go back to what I didn't know, I think I walked in the office around 3 p.m., and I think he and I were having a conversation at 4:30, and
I got to ask for the short version.
Oh, no.
Okay.
But I will tell you that when we were talking about the tasks, that it was people like this individual who were hitting send on the payments. So, I've come to find out that he's part of the
Okay, I
problem.
apologize. I'll have to get that later from you.
Yep.
Feel free to send in substance of the discussion in a letter. But I guess what I was going to ask was, you just mentioned there were two people who were working with respect to Doge at the time.
Yes, sir.
And Mark Elez was one of those?
I'm not sure.
Not sure? You're not familiar with that name?
I don't recall that name. I interviewed Tom Krause and personally recommended him to work at Treasury.
Okay. Well, Mr. Elez had worked at Mr. Musk's SpaceX company, and the Wall Street Journal issued a story, I think around February 7th, that talked about statements that Mr. Elez had made in the prior year. One was, you could not pay me to marry outside my ethnicity. Another was that he wanted to normalize Indian hate. The third was, just for the record, I was racist before it was cool. And another was, I just want a eugenic immigration policy. Is that too much to ask? This man resigned shortly after that article was published, but you don't recall him being there?
Congressman, I did not recall that individual's name, but that individual was terminated.
He was terminated, okay. Well, I appreciate that. Although it appears that he then later turned up that he was rehired, I guess, and that he's continuing.
Not by Treasury, sir.
Okay, but he was continuing to do work for Doge, but in this instance, HHS and 3 other departments? You have no idea.
I didn't follow his career.
Okay. Well, you didn't catch J.D. Vance saying that he didn't think he should be terminated? Did you miss that too?
I don't recall that.
All right. Do you recall Mr. Trump saying that he should have a second chance?
I don't recall that.
No. Okay. And do you recall Mr. Musk saying he should be given a second chance as well?
No, sir.
All right. Well, I guess the main question too here is, what exactly was the vetting practice that you had in place before you brought on these two people and gave them access to the payment system, which is $6 trillion?
Well, sir, they did not have access to the payment system, or perhaps we have a different definition of access. They only had read-only abilities, and they were there for tech support to look at the payment system, the ERP system, just like any private enterprise.
Is this an individual that you would have brought on even in that capacity if you'd known that he'd made these statements prior to him becoming part of that team?
Congressman, that I think it's very difficult to monitor everyone's social media.
That's not what I asked. If you knew that he had made these statements, would you have brought him on in the capacity that he had at the Department of Treasury?
I think the Office of Personnel Management would have flagged that.
Would you have brought him on?
Sir, again, I'm not going to speculate.
The chair now recognizes the gentleman from New York, Mr. Lalota, for his 5 minutes.